Hey, Mom. So we're back with another episode from the Life Unboxed blog show. And before we get started, I wanted to show you my new shirt that just came in the mail today. So it is my I Am a Mom, What's Your Superpower shirt, direct from the Life Unboxed store. So if you want to rock your superpower too, hop on over to the store and you can find it at the website lifeunboxed.blog. The link is right there at the top, and be sure to use code SUPERMOM to get 20% off the entire store. So I was excited to show you that. Today we are going to talk about how to read a book for busy mom bosses. So you've probably heard that reading is one of the most important things that you can do. So I read in an article that Warren Buffett said the key to success was reading 500 pages a day. So I had to do a little bit of math, and the average book is about 300 pages. So that means he reads a book and a half a day. This means that he reads about a book and a half a day. That is 600 books per year. So, how do we, as busy mom bosses, really read a book? Hey, moms, welcome to another episode of the Life Unboxed blog show, where we get to talk about all things momtrepreneur, from raising your kids to running a business, and the most important one, keeping your sanity. I am Jodie the mom from lifeunboxed.blog. And if you are liking this content, would you go ahead and like the video, definitely subscribe to the channel, and download the podcast and share it with your friends. It really helps to support the content that I'm making, and I just would really appreciate it. You can also follow me on social media, and that would be Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. And all the links to those platforms are in the description below. So be sure to hop on over and like the page. So I suppose if you're somebody like Warren Buffett, um, and you're able to hire someone to drive you everywhere, prepare and cook all of your meals, and anything else you don't want to do, it frees up a lot of time to get in those 500 pages a day. But if you are busy moms and our attention gets pulled in 1,000 directions all the time, it is hard to sit down and read 20 pages in a book, let alone 500. So, how do we do it? So, before we get into the exact how to, let's talk about why we should read, because we always need to know the why of why we should do something, um, to really motivate us to do it. So I'm sure you've heard all the reading cliches, and if you haven't, I will leave you a link because I've put some together for you. So the cliches like readers are leaders, knowledge is power, keep reading, reading is essential to rise above the ordinary. So although these are often quoted cliches and phrases, reading is probably one of the most important things you can do to improve yourself. If you're an honest intellectual, you will find that the more you read, the more you don't know. Thomas Sowell said it so well, and I'm going to read it for you. He said, "It takes considerable knowledge just to realize the extent of your own ignorance." And how true is that statement? The more we learn and teach ourselves, the more we know what we don't know. So at this point, I hope you're totally convinced that you should be reading voraciously. But how do you read a book when your time is so limited? So now that we've talked about why you should be reading, let's talk about some of the benefit of reading. So, as a busy mom boss who works with a variety of clients and also homeschools your kids, you need to continue to educate yourself. And reading allows you to keep learning outside the accepted system of formal education. Yes, that is a major benefit. I was raised with um, constantly hearing that you can learn anything from a book. Don't limit yourself to just learning one way. If you're interested in something, you can learn anything from a book. And I can tell you, as now that I'm 40 years old, so you get a lot of retrospects when you reach that age. It's totally true. You can learn anything from a book. So, not only do you get to learn outside of the formal education system, which, if you're a homeschooling mom, I'm assuming you already understand that too, but reading also lets you explore ideas and fields that you've may not considered before. So when you educate yourself in a variety of fields, you bring that knowledge and experience into your business and you really become an unstoppable force. Knowledge truly is power. So if you're reading this genre over here and this over here and this over here, and just a wide variety, you start to make connections in your own mind, and what it's like digging a deep well um, of wealth, of knowledge wealth. And when the time comes and you need a nugget of knowledge, it's in you and you are able to pull it out at just the right time. You don't get that by just necessarily sitting around watching Netflix or, whatever you're watching. But it really does come from being a seeker of knowledge and reading good books. Okay, so we got our why. We understand the benefits. Now we need to get into the how to. So you're probably asking yourself, well, that's just great, but how to read a book? I'm busy all the time. So have no fear. I'm going to let you in on my secret. You may not read 600 books a year, but you will probably be able to read at least 50. And that's about one a week. So for a busy mom, I think that is a good number of books. Now, if you can afford to hire somebody to come and clean your house, drive you everywhere, and cook you dinner, and definitely do your dishes, then I do expect you to be reading 600 books a year because you got the time. But for everybody else, let's just stick to shooting for 50 a year for a busy momtrepreneur. Okay, so the first way to read a book is to actually do audiobooks. Now, I know if you're a visual learner, you may kick against this idea because I did for so long. I am a visual learner and I know that I process information so much better when I can actually read it on the page, and even better when I'm actually holding the physical book in my hand. But I decided to give audiobooks a chance because I don't have the luxury of sitting on the couch whenever I want and forgetting about the dishes, forgetting about dinner, the expectation to eat, that's so overrated. And I decided to give the audiobooks a chance. So what I did, I downloaded the Overdrive app, which you can this app allows you to check out digital books from your local library. So audio and ebooks can be checked out from your local library. So I downloaded some audiobooks, put the little man in the stroller, and we went for a walk. And I can say that I was hooked. No more kicking against this notion of never listening to an audiobook. There were so many things that I could do while I was still listening, and multitasking is definitely a necessary trait of a momtrepreneur. So since that first taste of how many books I could actually get through by listening to them, I have upgraded my subscription to an Audible subscription. And let me let you in on a secret. If you go ahead and purchase the premium subscription, you do get access to free books. And free is one of my favorite four-letter words. So I know that while my preference is to read a book, like I just can't sit down and do that. But I can listen while I'm doing the dishes and making dinner and whatever else I have to do around the house. I can still listen to the books. So it really allows me to multitask. And like I said, this is a highly valued trait of a mom and a mom boss. Okay, so we've covered audiobooks, but there are probably still some books that you would prefer to actually read. So here's the system that I use to get through books at a steady pace. So I look at the number of chapters in the book and I ask myself, what can I reasonably fit into a month? So can I finish the whole book in a month? How many chapters a week would that be? And is that reasonable? Or do I need to split it up into 2 months so that I can reasonably get through the chapters? Because here's the thing, you want to enjoy reading. And if you've pressured yourself, which I do all the time, just so you know. So if you're pressuring yourself to read like 16 chapters a week, you're probably not going to get through that many. But if you have 4 chapters a week, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. Because you may not be able to read every day. So you're giving yourself some days and some flexibility to skip chapters if you need to. Okay, so I ask myself those questions. Can I easily finish it? And so whichever I decide to do, I get a sticky note and I stick it to the front of the book. And it looks something like this. So this is a digital version of what I do with my sticky notes. So this is what it would look like for a month. So I have the grid in 4 quadrants, assuming that 4 weeks in a month. You know, in those longer months, you have a few extra days in there if you need them. And so then I do put check boxes on my sticky notes. And as I finish each chapter, I will just check them off. And so this is a month. And this one here is for 2 months. So as you can see, I've quadranted out as well. And I have 8 weeks on here. And then when I finish the week, if I finish all my chapters, I just cross out the block. So this will really keep you on track to consistently read without feeling overwhelmed, so that you can finish your book in a month or 2. And I know that as simple as this is, I have found it to be incredibly effective for me to get through books within a month. Usually I'll have a bunch of audiobooks that I can get through, and depending on how long they are, you know, I can usually get through an audiobook at least once a week. And then if I have another book that I'm reading, which I might have 5 or 6 that, you know, I'll read at the same time. Don't do that. Doesn't. But they're from different genres, so, you know, you can get away with it. So I'll usually have one book, business related, in my stack of books that I will get through in a month. So I know you're probably thinking, okay, she covered audiobooks, she covered print books. What else is left? So I have one more for you, and that is to read fiction. So in all of your seeking of knowledge, be sure to add some fiction to your book list. Your brain needs a break, and fiction is fun to read. So the best part is they are easy audiobook listens too. So you can really get caught up, especially if you have a good narrator, listening to fiction books. Some of my favorite fiction books to listen to are John Grisham. Yeah, actually all of his books I've pretty much listened to. Some I've read too, but like I find his are great books to listen to, and there's usually good narrators too. So, whoever your favorite author is, try loading that up into your app and listening to that as well. Or, if you need a good story and you need a break, just curl up on the couch or take a soak in the tub with your favorite book. So you can still learn from fiction. And since you are a mom boss, you always need to improve your writing, and reading any type of book is a great way to do that. And if you need more tips on how to improve your writing, I will leave a link below and you can hop on over and read that post or watch the video. I'll leave the link to the video below so you can watch that. So don't forget to enjoy a good story. So I will be honest with you, mom, my fellow mom. Like, I could talk about this even longer than I already have, because this is something that I am, I guess you would say, passionate about, is to really encourage people to read, and to read to understand, not read to enjoy, um, read to gain, learn knowledge, learn to gain wisdom. There's so many benefits that you gain when you read. But I know that it's not always easy to find extra time for anything, but reading is something that you do need to squeeze in wherever you can. You will personally benefit from reading in so many ways. And to help you get started, I have book recommendations. I wouldn't say out the wazoo, because I'm going to confess something to you all right now. I hate those lists of like 100 whatever. I'm like, I don't have time to get through 100 things. So I try to keep my list like really short. Um, Fun reads also, they include fiction, obviously, and they include biographies. And I think I have a few other genres in there, and I just can't remember everything that I put. But the lists are manageable. Oh, I have series in there. So the lists are manageable, so you won't be overwhelmed. So all the links are below. Whether you're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, you can find them in the descriptions below. And also be sure to check out an Audible subscription. I promise that you will love it. Okay, so I need you to tell us your favorite book recommendations in the comments below. Don't be shy. Give me your favorite 3 books in which whatever genre. And if you need to add more than one genre, keep commenting and let me know. So, do you have any more suggestions on how to read a book? What has helped you to really get the time in, or to steal the time? That's kind of what we're doing here. To steal the time to read a book. Don't keep it a secret. We need to hear from you. I am so glad you joined me today. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And remember to check out the Life Unboxed store for all of your Mom Boss merch and get your very own I'm a Mom, What is Your Superpower t-shirt. For more great momtrepreneur content, follow Life Unboxed on social media, check out the lifeunboxed.blog, or download the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to share the podcast and video with your friends. I will see you in the next show.